My landlord has never fixed anything, so I make a $25,000 problem he can't ignore. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. So, a few years back, my family went through some pretty horrible stuff and ended up moving into a trailer park. It didn't look too awful as far as trailer parks go, and it was barely cheap enough to afford at the time, so we swallowed our doubts and moved in. The first night, we discovered there are bed bugs and roaches. We report the problem to the landlord the next morning, and he says we must have brought them in. That was our first clue that living there was gonna be a problem. Fast forward a couple of years, and we've got roaches that are immune to every poison on Earth. No amount of cleaning can get rid of the smell of the bugs. Yes, they smell. There's a water leak every couple weeks, and the landlord just sends a guy out to cut down the existing water hoses and refasten them every time instead of replacing the rotting water lines. Our water heater is falling through the floor. Rats and possums are coming up through the heat vents in the floor. The ceiling leaks, and there's a spot in the floor where you can stomp and knock out power for half the trailer. It was horrible. Every time we complained or asked for something to be fixed, anything, this jerk would say it was our fault. He never treated for roaches. We did manage to kill off the bed bugs, but only after spending almost $1,000 and literally steam cleaning every inch of the place. Never fixed the gaping holes in the heating conduits under the trailer. Never fixed the leaks in the ceiling. Even being threatened by the health department didn't get this guy off his butt. So we got another slow leak, this time behind the bathtub. It was a wet winter, so our yard was a swamp anyway. The landlord paid the water bill and the meters were set up so it was impossible to tell which trailer had the leak. So we decided to just let it leak, all winter long. The first month, he was complaining in the office one day about how high his water bill was. By the second month, the leak had started spraying water at the back of our tub, so it was bigger. His water bill went up again. By December, it was obvious there was a big problem, and he called the water company out to investigate. We turned our water off while they were there so they couldn't pinpoint the leak if they pressure tested the lines, which they didn't do anyway. And as soon as they left, we turned it back on. By January, his water bills were so high that his partner came up, thinking he must be embezzling funds from the utility account. They called the water company again and were told that the only way to fix the problem would be to seal the main water line that ran the entire length of the park. Basically, a crew comes out and blows a high-pressure stream of some chemical that hardens on contact with the walls of the pipe and seals them. And it is a long pipe. The repair estimate was $25,000 for a problem that didn't even exist. For 5 days, the crew at the park was blowing this funk into the pipe and checking to see if they had fixed the leak. We waited until the entire length of the pipe had been coated, then fixed the leak ourselves. It cost us $14. Our original poster seems to be going for more of a don't get mad, get even approach. While this doesn't directly resolve any of their other problems, I guess it could help with a general water issue throughout the park, but really they didn't gain anything out of this. They just wanted to screw over their landlord once for all the times he screwed them. Is it petty? Yes, but I understand the impulse. It just really sucks that people have to live in these kinds of conditions with landlords that aren't gonna do anything about it. Apparently, even pulling the health department in didn't actually get them any results. Taking all that into consideration, I'd say the landlord deserves to be messed with at least a little bit. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode, also linked below. And don't forget to subscribe. Racist drunken girl says me and my friend need to be speaking the native language. So this happened to my roommate whilst on our semester abroad, and I just remembered it and thought it was a good story to tell. Short but sweet. So for reference, Sally speaks 3 languages: English, French, and Spanish. I only speak English and Spanish. We decided to go to Canada for our semester abroad because snow, maple syrup, and fun. And during that time, we would generally communicate in English because that's what everyone else was using, with the occasional break into Spanish when we needed to discuss something private, or when our brains got tired and it was easier to speak our native tongue. At a party Sally and I were at, we were talking in Spanish about a private issue, and we were approached by this drunken girl who loudly loudly exclaimed that we should be speaking the language of the land. We ignored her. After a little bit more drunken shouting, she yelled, "This is Canada! Speak the language!" Sally grinned and answered, "Okay," before bursting into French. People like that are the worst. I mean, I'd like to give her the defense of, oh, she was drunk and I'm sure that had something to do with it, but at the end of the day, that must be how she really feels, and her being drunk is just removing the inhibition. You really hate to hear about stories like this in today's day and age. It's kind of something we should be past, but there's always going to be stupid people, so what can you do? My 5 years of getting paid for doing nothing is over, and it really sucks. I got a night shift job doing data entry back in 2015. I quit and needed something fast at night while I looked for something better during the day. It was a data entry position, meaning I get an email containing the details of an order and proceed to input the information into our system. Right after my training, I knew this is something Auto Hotkey can do. I don't know how to code that well, so I went to a freelancer website to hire a guy to develop the code. It cost me a 2-month salary. I just had to input how many orders I want to process per hour. Since day one, I was working from home because the company didn't want to pay for transport or cleaning during the graveyard shift. For the first 2 years, I would check if there was something the code couldn't do. Usually took me less than 5 minutes. And then I would let the computer run and watch movies, go to bed, and sometimes I'd even go out. Then I added those functions to the code as well. I was doing such a remarkable job, I was offered promotions a few times. New positions during the daytime that I'd reject, stating that I'm a very introverted person that enjoys this type of position. Eventually, I got another job, better paid, but there was no reason for me to quit where I was working. For my data entry job, I could spend months without having anybody reach out to me. Sometimes, some coworkers would try to match my order entry quota, which would make me open the code and change an 8 to a 9 to increase my production and keep myself on top. I'd change the numbers regularly just in case, but nobody even noticed. I even got 2 salary raises at some point for never missing a day and being the top producer in my 3-people department, to which I corresponded by changing the 9 and switching it to an 11 or 10 on some days. It took them 4 years to develop new software that would replace my data entry position, since clients were granted access to our new system. A few weeks ago, I got my severance check. I was told I could keep the laptop and office equipment and that I'm welcome to apply for any position I want. I never talked about that with anybody in real life, not even my family. Even my wife wasn't sure what my job was about with that other company. Now that it's over, there you go. My darkest work secret. I did try to schedule a demonstration of my code. I think that was back in 2017. The regional manager told me they're very busy dealing with the important stuff, just to keep doing the good work I was doing, which I did until the day I was let go. Talk about finding a life hack. This guy had a whole other job going on autopilot. If it's that simple and it's not hurting the company in any way and it's doing everything they need it to do, I don't really see the issue here. I don't know if it's exactly stipulated in your contract that you're not allowed to use outside programs to help you, but if it is, then you might have an issue. Even so, I can't fault the guy for coming up with a creative solution that made his life easier. At the end of the day, that's what the human race is about. Otherwise, we'd still be out living in caves. Everything is made to make our lives more convenient. This guy's just an average person who was thinking outside the box a little bit. Police officer insists I remove my earphones while I'm talking to him, not realizing that those are my hearing aids. This happened this morning. Even though I made a complete and full stop at a 4-way stop, I get pulled over by a police vehicle. Lights flashing, the works. I turn my dash cam around to face me and whomever goes in front of the driver's side window. I roll it down and ask, "What seems to be the problem, officer?" Officer looks at me the way one would look at a sticky piece of gum stuck to the bottom of one's shoe. "You didn't make a complete stop." I adjust one of my hearing aids. I lost part of my hearing due to being a touring season American musician previously, and before I could speak, he firmly orders, "Sir, take off your headphones when I'm talking to you." I take both hearing aids off and look at him. I can read lips a little, but we're both masked, so I can't understand what he's saying. I communicate in sign language simultaneously while speaking verbally. "I'm deaf and I didn't understand what you just said. Can you communicate to me in American Sign Language, please?" He points at my hearing aids that look like Apple AirPods, motioning me to put them on. "Yes, officer, without those I can only communicate in American Sign Language. Please instruct me in ASL and I'll be compliant in every possible way." He looks at the dash cam that's neatly pointed squarely at us and mumbles, "For God's sake." He then motions for me to go, giving me 2 thumbs up. Needless to say, I rolled up the window and drove away as fast as legally allowed. I couldn't wipe the smile off my face all day. Yeah, this cop just realized he screwed up and figured it was easier to just let the guy go. It's not worth giving this guy a hard time given the video's probably gonna end up on social media. Yeah, he's being a bit of a smart aleck. He could have told you they were hearing aids before he took them out, but hey, you asked and he complied. The officer was able to recognize that he's lost this one and to just let it go. I give away a lot of my child's stuff on Facebook Marketplace for free when they outgrow it. The amount of parents that expect me to deliver it to them for free is astounding. Whenever my child outgrows something, I try to give it to another family that needs it. I usually clean the item up and post it with pickup only, and a generalized area of where I live. Usually with everything I post, I get at least one person message me a sob story about how they don't have a car and they ask me to deliver it. I don't deliver, because I'm already trying to do a nice thing by giving away stuff that I could easily sell. I've given away high chairs, bouncers, ride-on cars, and once an entire kids' outdoor play castle with a slide. I had one woman ask me to deliver it and then get mad because I refused to put the castle on hold for her because she was going to ask around to see if someone she knew could come get it. She then demanded to know if I had any other kids' things I could give her for free because I wasted her time. Right now, I'm trying to give away overnight pull-up diapers. It's half a pack sealed. It's free. It says what area I'm close to so people can decide if it's too far to drive to get it before they message me. I had one person message me asking where I live. I gave them the general area and they said, "Oh, no, that's too far. I don't have a car, but I really want this. Can you drop it off in town that's 45 minutes away for me?" I told them I wasn't planning on driving to that town anytime soon and asked for gas money, and they replied, "I thought they were free. It'd be cheaper for me to just go buy diapers. I don't have a car, so I was hoping you'd bring them to me." It's always with kids stuff I give away for free. I'm tired of being treated like I'm a jerk for not wanting to drive all over the place to deliver stuff for free. I'm trying to be nice, but I'm not a charity. Come on, people, it's free stuff that they're trying to give away that kids might need. Some of that stuff's pretty expensive. High chairs, bouncers, a ride-on car, that's the kind of stuff that any parent's gonna be happy with if they can get it. But to expect someone to drive 45 minutes to give you something that's free out of the goodness of their heart is really expecting too much. They want to help out whoever wants it. If you're too far away, that's your problem, not theirs. If you don't want to make that trip, why would they want to make that trip? You're the one that's actually getting something out of this transaction. If anyone's gonna have the motivation to travel, it should be you. I have to go back to my doctor 3 different times for notes because my manager's being so particular about the wording. I work at a distribution center and unfortunately I injured my knee while working one night. We're not sure what happened. The case is currently ongoing. In the beginning, they were pretty accommodating, until they noticed a loophole in my workers' comp doctor's note based on how it's written. This part is important. The note stated to give me 2 to 3 15-minute breaks to rest and ice. The doctor meant for this to be included with our regular 2 lunches. The operations manager and HR decided that 2 of those breaks were covered by one of the lunches, and would only give me 1 additional 15-minute break. I objected, stating he knew very well what the doctor intended, but he didn't budge. Fine. I go back to the doctor and mention what happened. Naturally, he was annoyed and wrote a new one stating to give me a 15-minute break every 2 hours. Easy, right? No. The operations manager in HR consolidated my lunches for the breaks because of how it's written. Once again, I go back to the doctor. Now he's ticked and includes in addition to regular lunches on the note because they're so focused on how it's written. Operations manager is furious when I show him the note and said he refuses to pay me for those breaks, to which I'm pretty sure is illegal. I submit a letter of concern to the safety supervisor, along with a statement that I'm planning on bringing this matter to a higher power, a carefully chosen word for lawyer. I then spoke with the head of HR. Like magic, operations manager presented me with a reasonable break schedule and has me assigned to the department where I'd be stationary. Bonus: not everybody's a pushover who won't fight back. Yeah, this one kinda ticks me off too. You have an employee who's injured, who got injured at work, that needs a little bit of special treatment, just for a little while until they heal. Is that really the end of the world? Are you so worried about productivity that you're willing to put their safety and comfort at risk? What's the big deal? Just give them the time they need to heal. At least they're still able to come in and do something. You know what they mean in the doctor's note. Don't sit there and give the injured employee a hard time about the particular wording of it. Just give your employee what they need. They already dedicate their life to you anyway. Am I the jerk for telling my friend that she's a jerk? I'm a 32-year-old female. My best childhood friend, also 32-year-old female, just became a lawyer and then dumped her boyfriend. My best friend and I grew up in poverty. We didn't have many opportunities for an education. For young women in our area, our options were retail, pushing, working the corner, or hoping a rich guy would notice us. For guys, it was retail, pushing, or finding one of the few factory jobs remaining. I got lucky and managed to date a med student. He helped open doors for me, and I've become a teacher in a school in a lower socioeconomic area to provide those opportunities. My husband is now a doctor. My friend tried that option but was not as lucky. She was working minimum wage retail at age 25. While doing so, she got friendly with a factory worker, male, 30, who came by regularly and they started dating. He knew he wasn't the academic type. School wasn't for him, but he saw potential in my friend and encouraged her to go to school. She had dreams of becoming a criminal prosecutor, and he encouraged her to not give up. He took out whatever loan he could find so that she could get an education. He supported her through and through, did the housework, worked extra shifts, everything so she could get an education. My friend persevered, graduated, and became a lawyer. Shortly after, she broke up with her boyfriend, just as he was planning on proposing to her. She said that as a professional, she had no interest in being married to a working-class man, and that she deserves a real man. I was horrified and told her she's betraying a man who supported her through all this and made her what she is. She got mad and said that it's not the woman's job to pay the bills, and that I'm a hypocrite because my husband makes a lot more than me. She further said that the idea of marriage as a life partnership is a patriarchal construct, that she has the right to date whomever she wants, and that as a feminist, I should be supporting her. I told her that she's not only a major jerk, but she's giving feminists a bad name, because feminism means women financially supporting their male partners as much as the other way around. She was literally just using this guy as a stepping stone to something better. She would have had this planned all along. If this was always her attitude, she knew she wasn't gonna stay with this guy once she got her degree. But she had no problems with him taking care of her and doing everything she needed and paying for her school. And this is the same type of person who's gonna turn around and call themselves a feminist and that men are jerks. Clearly, this guy's a much better partner than you. I don't know who you are that you think that your poop doesn't stink, but guess what? You're no better than anyone else. You're actually considerably worse. So, half of my office's staff is quitting today. Last Thursday, my office, a dental practice in a very wealthy area of California, had a meeting, and we were informed that we would only be approved for 1 day off per quarter. So, 1 day off every 3 months. None of us in the office get any benefits. No paid time off, no medical, no holidays, nothing. We were also told that because we, the hygienists, are booked out so far that when we take our day off, we'll have to come in early or work late to make up for the patients we didn't see that day. Me and the other hygienists all put in our letters of resignation today. We all typed and laid them on his desk. So he got back from lunch and had to read through all the letters. My coworker said she saw him throwing our stack of letters at the office manager. Fortunately, hygienists are in crazy high demand in California right now, and all of us already have other job offers. Yet another example of if you're not going to treat your employees right, they're not going to stick around. They're people, not machines. You got to give them time off. And if they're working that hard and they're full-time, give them the benefits they deserve. They're dedicating their life to you. It's not that much to ask that you take care of them. God knows that some fancy dental clinic in California can afford to pay their employees properly. We're really not asking much here. It's the bare minimum. Otherwise, the alternative is you have a constantly revolving door of people coming in and going. No one sticks around long enough because you're not treating them properly. So now you have to spend time, which is essentially money, training them, and then you have a bunch of new employees who aren't confident in their positions and could potentially make mistakes. Mistakes means your business isn't operating as well as it could be. If it's not operating as well as it could be, you're not making as much money as you could be. You see how this all trickles down eventually? If you have good employees, treat them well, and they'll stick around and do the same for you. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.